What are the new considerations, the new rules for disability applications in the age of COVID, the coronavirus pandemic? I'm Jonathan Ginsberg, and I'm a Social Security disability attorney. And over the past 8 or 9 months since the coronavirus pandemic has been here in the United States, I've noticed some significant changes in the way Social Security does business. The obvious ones are that hearings are being done by telephone, that Social Security employees are working from home, that the process, the initial application process, is taking longer, but the hearing delay is getting shorter. But there's some things I want you to be aware of when you're applying for benefits, because there are some changes, and I think if you are aware of these and take advantage of them, you can perhaps improve your chances at getting approved early, or certainly at a hearing, you're more prepared to present your case to a judge in a way that's likely to get you approved. So first of all, I think that when you're applying for benefits, you need to be very aware and think about your onset date. And if you don't know what I mean by that, is the onset date, or your alleged onset date, is the date that you claim that you became disabled. A lot of my clients recently were let go from work, not because of their medical problem, but because of the economic ramifications of the coronavirus. So their company was downsizing, or the company closed down or went out of business. And if you put your last day of work as your onset date, the judges may have an issue with that, because they're going to say, but for the fact that the coronavirus caused your company to shut down, you probably could have continued working. So what I typically do when I'm advising somebody about when to apply or what to use as an onset date when they apply, I suggest that they look at their record and try to come up with a date that signifies some specific event, whether it's a medical test, some sort of a medical crisis, a hospitalization, an ER visit, something that signals that their condition went from manageable, where they're able to work, to a lot worse. Now, sometimes it could be that the last job that they're in, they're getting special considerations. But I think that you can improve your chances of winning if you basically recognize that judges are going to be concerned that people are using the day after they lost work, they were let go, as their onset date, when clearly what triggered their termination was an economic reason related to the employer and the coronavirus, as opposed to some medical reason. So I think you can really enhance your credibility by identifying a medical reason, something that happened that would suggest that you became disabled at some point after the time you actually lost your job. So I think choosing an appropriate onset date can really enhance your credibility and improve your chances. Number 2, telemedicine is legitimate medicine. Now, I think for the first few months after everything kind of shut down in March and April of 2020, judges recognized that people couldn't go to the doctor. Doctors were not seeing patients. Everybody was afraid to go out. So you could see gaps of medical treatment. And I think that a judge is recognizing that somebody didn't go to the doctor for 5 or 6 months. Normally that would be a problem, because they're saying there's a big gap in medical treatment. During the first few months of coronavirus pandemic, judges are giving people a little bit of a pass. But now, and I'd say this as of September, October of 2020, I think that many doctors have established telemedicine practices, or they have limited hours where they can see people. So I think the excuse or the rationale that you're not going to the doctor because of the coronavirus, that's not really applying as much. I think you still need to go to the doctor. One of the things that hurts cases and getting approved is gaps in medical treatment. So I think you need to look and figure out a way to get to the doctor if that's possible, or at the very least to seek a telemedicine appointment, so there is some record that you're seeking treatment. I think one of the things that judges think, and I'm not saying this is always accurate, but if you're not going to the doctor, you're not seeking medical treatment, they may conclude you may not really be all that bad off. And so not going to the doctor can be a problem. I think for a few months there it was not as much of a problem, but now it's back to being a problem. So do not hesitate to search for a doctor who will see you online through telemedicine, because that is a perfectly legitimate way of doctors seeing patients, and more it's becoming the norm. So again, don't skip going to the doctor. Don't allow for gaps in your medical treatment simply because you're saying I was afraid to go to the doctor. I don't think that's a good enough excuse anymore. And the third thing I would tell you, also relating to coronavirus pandemic, is don't discount the mental health elements of this. One of the things, and I'm sure we've all dealt with this, nobody's going to restaurants. People aren't socializing. They're not seeing their friends. They're not going to the gym, not going to concerts. It's very isolating. And if you're not working, if your family is facing financial crisis, it's even more isolating. And that can be depressing. So don't hesitate when you're applying for disability, even if your underlying condition is primarily physical. It's a back problem or heart problem or diabetes, something like that. But there may be an element of depression that arises from the combination of not being able to work, not being able to support yourself, but also this sort of isolation we're all living in, this crazy world where you can't do anything and people are getting sick and you don't know if you get the coronavirus, whether you're going to have a mild case or you're going to be in a hospital with a ventilator, or you could die. I mean, it's a very disconcerting world right now when you never know. You just don't know what's going to be. And again, literally people that are healthy and strong and young today, 2 weeks from now, could be on their deathbed. So I think don't underestimate the mental health element of the COVID-19 crisis. And if that has affected you, make sure to include that when you apply for disability benefits, that there is a level of anxiety and depression. And don't forget that anxiety, depression, there's a physical component to that. If you are under a lot of stress and you're dealing with all these uncertainties in life, that can affect your ability to recover from physical problems. That can affect your treatment. That can affect a lot of things. So don't hesitate to make a claim and assert some sort of mental health condition, anxiety, depression, because of the world we're living in now, because I think that's very relevant. And we're starting to see cases now coming up for hearing where people, a significant part of their treatment has been during this time, and judges, I think, are receptive to the notion that people under a lot of stress are going to have a harder time recovering, and their symptoms are going to be worse, and it's going to be much more difficult for them to even contemplate going back to work, plus the practical implication that there are fewer jobs out there for even healthy people, much less folks who have some sort of chronic type of illness or syndrome that makes it hard for them to work. If you found this useful, please give it a thumbs up on YouTube, like it on Facebook, and subscribe to our channels here. Visit me online, ssdanswers.com. You can download my Secrets to Winning Disability Survival Kit, or you can ask for a case evaluation. Happy to do that. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. We'll interact that way. Any way I can help you, happy to do so. This is Jonathan Ginsberg, wishing you the best. Thanks a lot. Hi, this is Jonathan Ginsberg, and I hope you found this video helpful. If you'd like to know more about how to win your Social Security disability case, I'd like to invite you to download my Secrets to Getting Approved Early Survival Kit that I created just for people like you. Currently, I'm making the survival kit available at no cost, and I encourage you to grab your copy now. Some of the topics I cover include: how do I know if I have a case? Is it the right time for me to file my claim? 9 common mistakes that can doom your case. The 3 must-have arguments you use to win your case. And a topic that every disability claimant wants to know: how to avoid trick questions from the judge. If you or a loved one need to win Social Security disability benefits, you'll find the Survival Kit essential reading. Download your Survival Kit right now and at no cost. Just visit ssdanswers.com/survival and sign up. It's that easy. Please act now. And as always, I wish you the best.